taught me that it's in industrial design, it's not stealing, it's reverse engineering. So I'm reverse engineering, you know, the rendering of this particular object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a new little reference layer here and paste that behind, so Command B, and I essentially have something to kind of work with when I'm generating my gradients, kind of working with the shape. So if I select that little like rounded edge here, go to Window, pull up the gradient tool. There's my gradient tool. All right, there's my gradient tool. Okay, gradients are your friends as long as you know how to work with them. Try and stay away from the gradient mesh tool. Okay, gradient mesh tool is going to cause you a whole lot of mesh. Or mess, yeah. So if I go over here, okay, so notice I just clicked on that, I just created a very simple gradient. Already we're starting to see that definition sort of coming about. When you have the gradient tool, essentially what you're working with is just a bunch of little paint buckets. Okay, you can essentially move them around. If you click a new one, you click a new one. If you double click on it, you can change the value. So right now I'm just generally working in the sort of black and white space. And what you can also do is, if you double click, press the I key, and hold down Shift on the image, it'll select that value. So I can click my little paint bucket, Shift click, paint bucket, Shift click, paint bucket, Shift click, you know, and I'm creating this nice gradient. And I just realized I don't have my object selected, so it's not applying it to it. So let me try that again. So select your paint bucket right here. I to, you know, eyedropper, hold on Shift, select, I, select, I, select, okay, so I have that guy. It's going in the wrong direction, okay, and it might not be the proper distribution that I want. But it's okay. I'm sorry?
Sorry, Miguel, now to generate a new paint bucket, you just literally click underneath the scale right there?
Yeah, you just click it, and if you want to remove it, you just drag it away. And if you click in between any two values, so if I come over here and I click in between any two values, it'll actually give me the midpoint value between those two. So if I go ahead and I click here, I get that values, that proper color value. And then if you want to like create more of a dramatic shift, you just kind of drag it over. Okay? But I'm going to show you a better way of sort of editing and working with me. Oh, okay. So I'm going to show you a better way to essentially work with this net space. Okay? So let me just zoom out here. There's this little gradient tool, and what it does is allows you to reorganize how that gradient is applied to any given shape that you have selected. So I have that little crescent selected, so how I draw that in that space in either direction will affect how that gradient is essentially represented. Now, if let's say I click on the top right there, okay, and I want to cause some edits or changes, okay. Why isn't it pulling up? Where's my little dialog? Can I do something? Should be a little dialog. Let me see. There's normally this little dialog that allows you to edit the gradient right in its place, but for some reason it's not coming up for me.
Try just clicking.
No. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's probably one of my settings gone awry. No. All right, well, I'm not going to concern myself too much with that because I still have the control over here. Normally when you work in Illustrator, this little dialog is going to come up directly